So everyone, welcome back to Double Life, If Limited Life. So this is the third part of it. Sorry it's been a while, I've just been busy with stuff, but I really appreciate the support on the last two parts of the series, so if you haven't seen them, be sure to check them out, link in the description. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. And first things first, because this season was only 6 sessions, 12 plus hours is green, 6 plus hours is yellow, and 0 plus hours is red. And as you can see here, they start with 18 hours instead of 24 hours. Because even though there is still a bunch of negative time at the end here, it's easier than just having positive time at the end, I guess you can say, because really nobody would have died. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. So basically, session 1 happens, everybody gets their soulmate, and they lose 3 hours because of natural time loss. And if you remember Double Life, Tango is blown up by a creeper, and Jimmy dies, and Joel is slain by an Enderman, so Etho dies. So, Tango loses an hour, Jimmy loses an hour, Joel loses an hour, and Etho loses an hour. So Joel, Etho, Tango, and Jimmy are on 14 hours, and everybody else is on all 15 hours. Pretty good, I think. So session 2, we have ourselves 3 hour time loss, which turns everybody yellow, which is fun. Session 2 yellows. And once again, not really much happens. This session literally only one death, which is Ren being slain by the Enderman when Big B is dying because of it, even though he kind of fell off the ladder. He really didn't. It's weird. But yeah, not really much. So Ren loses an hour, Big B loses an hour. So Big B, Ren, Joel, Etho, Tango, and Jimmy are on 11 hours. And Scott, Pearl, Scar, Impulse, B-Dubs, Martin, Cleo, and Green are on 12 hours. It's very basic stuff right now. Session 3 is kind of fun. We have a 3 hour time loss. And yeah, let's just see what happens. So Cleo dies to Martin because Martin is bad at math, but it also kills Martin. And Big D is blown up by creepers, so Ren dies. But what makes this interesting is, so basically, Cleo will lose an hour, Martin will lose an hour, but Martin will gain 30 minutes for the kill, so Cleo will gain 30 minutes. It's kind of weird, but he technically killed her, so he gets time from her, so she gets time back. It sounds dumb, but it is funnier this way, I'm gonna be honest. So, yeah, then, Big B loses an hour, so Ren loses an hour. So, in total, Big B and Ren are on 7 hours, Joel, Etho, Tango, and Jimmy are on 8 hours, Martin and Cleo are on 8.5 hours, and Scott, Pearl, Scar, Impulse, B-Dubs, and Green are on 9 hours. So session 4, we have a 3 hour time loss, which turns everybody red. Fun. Then we have ourselves our deaths. So Joel and Etho died to the fishing rod game, so now they are red in terms of Double Life, and so they kill Pearl, and so Scott dies. And then Impulse dies to mobs, so B-Dubs dies. So Joel loses an hour, Etho loses an hour, Green gains 30 minutes, so does Scar, which turns them back to yellow, which is fun. Then Pearl loses an hour, so Scott loses an hour, and Joel and Etho both gain 30 minutes. And then Impulse loses an hour, so B-Dubs loses an hour. Then Jimmy gets shot by Etho, knocking him off the tower, and Tango dies. And then for the pool party, Ren kills B-Dubs for revenge of the creeper, and Impulse dies. So Jimmy loses an hour, Tango loses an hour, Etho gains 30 minutes, Joel gains 30 minutes. Then B-Dubs loses an hour, so does Impulse, and Ren gains 30 minutes, so does Big B. So Tango, Jimmy, Impulse, and B-Dubs are on 4 hours, Big B and Ren are on 4.5 hours, Joel, Etho, Scott, and Pearl are on 5 hours, Martin and Cleo are on 5.5 hours, and Scar and Green are on 6.5 hours. So session 5, we have the 3 hour time loss, which turns everybody red once again, because Scar and Green were on yellow. So then we have ourselves the very few deaths that actually happened this session. So Scar is slain by the zombies from the party, and Green dies. Jimmy's slain by an Enderman, so Tango dies. And then Scar blows up to Small Etho's trap, which kills Green too. And then Ren is skewed by a falling stalactite, which kills Big B, and that was Green's kill. Best kill of the Life series. So, Scar loses an hour, Green loses an hour. Then, Jimmy loses an hour, Tango loses an hour, eliminating them. Then, Scar loses an hour, so Green loses an hour. And Joel and Etho gain 30 minutes. And then, Ren loses an hour, and so does Big B, which gives Green and Scar another 30 minutes. So Tango and Jimmy are out of time. Big B and Ren are on 30 minutes. Impulse and B-Dubs are on 1 hour. Scott, Pearl, Scar, and Green are on 2 hours. And Joel, Etho, Martin, and Cleo are on 2.5 hours. So session 6, we're actually going to kill them naturally because this is already keeping people alive, like third life. So, but we're going to take away 30 minutes just so we eliminate Ren and Big B, and we were all the people who were actually alive that session. So, yeah. So Scott dies to Joel, so Pearl dies. So Scott loses an hour, and Pearl loses an hour. Joel and Etho gain 30 minutes. Then we have ourselves another 30-minute time loss, but nothing happens there. So then Cleo drowns, which kills Martin, and then Green dies by the warden, so it kills Scar. So basically, Cleo will lose an hour, and so will Martin. Now, does Scar really deserve time for this? No, because he technically didn't kill, wasn't the reason, but kind of was, but kind of wasn't. But we're going to give him 30 minutes, because that's probably what they would have done, so Green gets 30 minutes. But then Green dies to the warden, and loses an hour, and Scar loses an hour. But they are still alive, but 30-minute time loss, which kills them. Then Etho and Joel die in the nether portal, so I'm not really sure who got that kill because they kind of helped set it up or something. I would have to look at the footage more. So Etho loses an hour, and so does Joel, which is another 30-minute time loss, so we kill Joel and Etho. Then B-Dubs is killed by Pearl, and Impulse is killed by B-Dubs, so essentially the server could glitch here, so B-Dubs loses an hour, and so does Impulse. Pearl gains 30 minutes, and so does Scott, but then B-Dubs would gain 30 minutes, and so would Impulse, because it said in chat that B-Dubs killed Impulse. Elimination and another 30-minute time loss. So we have the final 4, and they're all leaving time right now, so let's see what happens. So Pearl kills Martin and Cleo, and then Scott kills himself for Pearl. So essentially, Cleo loses an hour, and so does Martin. Pearl gains 30 minutes, and then they'll get eliminated. And then Scott loses an hour, and so does Pearl, eliminating them, and then they lose another 30 minutes. So in 13th place, we have Tango and Jimmy with -3 hours. Then in 7th place, we have Martin and Cleo, Impulse and B-Dubs, and Big B and Ren with -2 hours and 30 minutes. And then in 5th place, we have Scott and Pearl with -2 hours. Then in 3rd place, we have Scar and Green with -1.5 hours. And in 1st place, we have Joel and Etho with -1 hour.